Hey guys, new video here. Big new patch coming. I'm gonna pull up the patch notes right here. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. I'll go over the most important parts, and there's one huge thing which I'll talk about at the end. So first, this patch will come out as of the time of this video within a couple days. You can see right here we're planning to deploy the 3.124b patch within a few days. Now, right now, like New Zealand's a day ahead, so as the time of this video, we are at it's Monday, so maybe like usually around Wednesday, maybe we'll get it on Tuesday. Who knows? But it is amazing because first things first, unique contracts. Right now, if you see people doing like really juiced up maps, they're dropping a lot of these, and these can sell for a lot of money. They're kind of tied to the challenges, and so league over league, we've seen that like the rare things that are required to get a challenge, and this league's challenge is like you get like a cool little cat, you get a cool little portal, pretty good rewards, so people are going to want to do that. So if you were only doing like contracts and grand heists, then you couldn't really ever see these unique contracts because they just didn't drop from the monsters that you killed, and they were never in like the safes at the end or like the curio cases at the end, and that was kind of annoying, right? But now we can all do those, and you can kind of like solo self find your own challenge contracts and unique contracts if you want to do that without having to map. So great stuff there. Next one, this one is kind of cool. Traps don't really activate during the imminent lockdown period. So like when your alert bar gets full and then you have like the countdown, it might be 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever. But if you're staying in a hallway or in one of those rooms with a trap, which means like mines or like the things that throw those like red nets and then blow up, or like the fireball traps or whatever, it's super deadly, right? Because if it happens and all the mines arm and you're in the middle of a minefield or like the trap room, you're just gonna die, right? Most builds, if you ever run into a to get a chest when really it's like a trap disarmament chest and you just instantly die by walking over like 2 to 4 mines, well, that's going to happen sometimes in these heist contracts and these heist blueprints, but that won't happen anymore because they will only arm when the timer goes all the way down. So that's pretty sick right there. It makes it a little bit safer for you. This one's kind of huge. You can now make a new instance by just control clicking. So instance manager is this. Basically, when I go to, imagine this is a waypoint. Let's say you want to go to the ship graveyard, right? So when you control click on ship graveyard, there's this button here, right? This is called the instance manager. And you can make infinite ship graveyards if you want, right? So let's say you're farming blood aqueducts. Most people know this, when you're farming blood aqueducts, you get to let's say you go from Highgate all the way down to the waypoint. And then when you get to the waypoint, you'll control click, right? Because if you normally click, it'll just take you there, right? If I normally click on this, just left click, I go to the blood aqueduct. But if I control click, I can click on the new button and it'll open a completely fresh instance with new monsters in it. In this case of the Rogue Harbor, why is this important? Well, if you just logged in for the day and you go to someone else's Rogue Harbor to trade for whatever reason, or they come to yours and you guys don't have the same ping, meaning that I'm from NA and some guy from Australia or Singapore or even EU comes to my thing, they are locked into my instance if it's been like 8 to 15 minutes since they went into their own instance. And so the only way to reset that as of right now is that you have to wait the 8 to 15 seconds until the instance kind of disappears, and then when you go to your Rogue Harbor, then you are allocated to your gateway that you logged in on. So that's super annoying, right? Because if I log on for the day and someone's like, hey, can you come to my Rogue Harbor? And I'm like, well, I don't really want to because you might be in Singapore and I'm going to get 230 millisecond lag for the rest of my my contracts. And then so stashing things into your stash becomes really laggy. They are fixing that. You can just go ahead and click on a new one and it'll be yours. Great. The other thing that's going to be pretty cool is that there was like bugs where the twins contract was very expensive. You couldn't kill the last boss, so that's being fixed. You had issues with that. Other things is like it's just some like bug fixes to make the some people were getting like bricked contracts or blueprints because their Talina or like cars couldn't do the agility contract, or sorry, the agility job. They just like stand there. So that's all getting fixed. Players getting stuck indoors. So if a door would open on top of you, sometimes you'd be stuck in it and you'd be like, oh no, step rogue, please help me get out of the door. Or you could type /OOS if you guys don't know. Typing here, I'll show you. Typing /OOS like this in a game, that is out of sync, which makes you like match up with the server. If you're in lockstep, you shouldn't have this issue, but if you're on predictive, you'll use this sometimes, and that would sometimes get you out of the door, but sometimes it wouldn't. So So this patch, this little note in the patch is really good. Just a few other like kind of a few other like random bug fixes and stuff like that. And then a client crash, that kind of helps as well. But let's talk about the big thing. Okay, now this is huge. Where is it? Where's it at? Where's that thing at? Right here. Fixed a bug where heist brooch modifiers, which could duplicate rewards, were not functioning correctly. Okay. So I thought that they like worked in a way. I thought they just like duplicated like individual currencies sometimes instead of like the whole thing, but apparently they didn't work, so I was wrong. And now they actually work. And why is this so crazy for people that want to run contracts and blueprints? Well, if we look at a let's look at carts right here, right? And this is kind of how I've geared up my carts with this brooch right here. So if I do my advanced tooltip here, you will see that I have a role that says 15% increased quantity of items dropped in heist. That's all right. Monsters don't really drop much anyways. They kind of suck. So that 15%, although it's tier 1 and it does require eye level 84 to roll that, okay, whatever, right? Rarity, same thing, tied with the quantity, because monsters don't really drop much. And I've tested this with tunnels. Tunnels and repository can spawn like so much mob density and a lot of rares, but they just like don't really drop that much. Something like 1C, 1 fusing from like cycling through a couple times, and that's kind of annoying. But what about this? The chests have a chance to duplicate contain delirium orbs and splinters. That's all right, right? That's one of the mods that wasn't working. And if you look at a blueprint, let's take any random blueprint here, right? Like this one. So if you look at, let's take this one for example, right? So this one has a blight thing on it, a legion thing, some question marks, its legacy, a breach room, armor, jewelry, weapon room, unique room, and one room with currency. So like 2 chests in there. Pretty cool, right? Because if I am able to double my my delirium orbs and splinters from delirium, that's not on this blueprint, but like look at this one. Heist chests have a 15% chance, which is tier 1, to duplicate contained currency. Wow, that is absolutely insane, right? It's like so great. It's like whether it works like as a whole, I hope it works as like the chest as a whole, because then like Vendiri can like do his thing as well, and then like it's more like exciting. But even if it's like individual, that's pretty cool too. And look at this one, right? So you might be like, why is that cool? Because there are these big chests here. Now this one has 2 big chests, so when you open those 2 big chests behind the door, you're going to be able to have a chance because of this to have duplicated contained currency, right? 15% chance. Oh, not that great, right? However, it is tripled because you have three masters with you, 3 different masters on most of these. So you're going to get that. There's 3 brooches, obviously. They all have tier 1. 45% chance to duplicate the contained currency. So let's just say 50%, right? So half of the time when you open a big chest that's currency, or depending on if heist chest only refers to the big one or the small one, like the small chests that don't have an icon, those small chests, there's a ton of currency small chests and that gets duplicated, then it's pretty great. So that's cool, but this one's not that good, right? So let's take a look at another one. Let's say you are someone who loves heist and you decide to invest a lot into heist, and so we can go here and let's just take a look at one of these things here. This one is 17 currency rooms. In my opinion, this is the best blueprint to duplicate, and this one has 17 rooms of currency. Okay, and then 2 chests behind each wall, and that's so sick, right? Because now what's happening is when you go into this blueprint, and this is splittable, so you can split this or fracture this to infinitely run this one exact blueprint. Really efficient because it's always the same. You know exactly where all the currency small chests are. So you run this, and then half of the chests you open are gonna just double it, and we know how many exalts in one day. Let's count. I mean, shards, I counted that one day, but in one day I had like 102 pure exalt drops from shards and pure exalts. Okay, so like it's gonna be pretty nuts if they don't mess it up and it actually does work, because yeah. So I would say my advice to you is to get this tier 1 roll. Once again, quantity and rarity, just generic, doesn't really matter, I don't think, but the tier 1 roll for the duplicate contained currency is very, very important, to the point where I would say you have to have it on every rogue, because it's just gonna be like the best setup if you want to run blueprints. If you want to run contracts, right? So for contracts, you can look at this, right? So this is the cheat sheet of what each contract has. And I would even say that, if a type of job has currency in it, like currency chests, then you have to run this brooch anyways. It's just the most stable. So like for example, agility, counter thaumaturgy, lockpicking, for any of those people that can do that job, you go ahead. So your karst, right? Your Talina or karst, depending on the level, whether you have +1 jobs, and of course your counter thaumaturgy. Counter thaumaturgy is really good because you can run Gianna for a really big discount on revealing, but you know, Niles for the higher level ones that Gianna can't run. And then the net, if you for some reason don't like Gianna or Niles, or you don't find yourself ever needing the coins or the reveals, which it would be very rare, I think you should get these reveals. So like on these, just put all those people with one of these tier 1 currencies, but just to be safe on future blueprints, because every blueprint usually has at least a currency room. And once again, small chest, if this works for small chest, I don't know if it does, then of course every contract, even if it has 0 currency rooms with icons, will have currency chests. So just slap this brooch on everybody. You can roll this yourself. I made it in my previous videos. You hear that I rolled this for this one I just got really lucky on, but for other ones, you can buy them on the trade site, or you can roll it yourself. The tier 1 of the Horde suffix modifier. I think this might need 83 or 81. I don't know. You gotta look on PoEDB. I'll find out later. But you do need to pay attention to the eye level. Roll it on there yourself. Okay, you roll it on yourself. It'll take less than 20C probably. It's not that rare of a roll. And whatever else you get, it doesn't matter. Just like make sure you have that of the Horde roll on every single person. And that's about it. So get that, and then you can try duplicating and splitting these blueprints, and then just run them for, you know, basically 50% more exalts, because, you know, you get more regals, which means you get more results. I don't think it needs to be said that it is tied in with this trinket, right? But even if you don't have this trinket and you're running like random contracts and random blueprints, it's still insane to get that duplication of currency. Okay. If you're going to do this trinket, this kind of like takes it to the next level, because I think that regals are much more rare than alterations or any of the things. A quick note, if you're using the double C trinket, you should probably switch off like alterations, augments, or transmutes to Chow's orbs, because that one, like, it's really bad. Because if what I suggest you do is go on your filter, enable augments, transmutes, and all alterations if you don't have it already, and you're going to see that those things are very, very rare. From currency chests with the icon, they're extremely rare. From small chests, they drop a little bit more often, and then from the safes at the end, they can drop sometimes. But compared to regals and like just like C in general, it's pretty bad. So switch off that trinket immediately. Try to get a 2% at least regal to exalted orb trinket, and you will just find so many exalts. This isn't like anything, like, I'm not trying to be like sensationalist. We're like, oh, you're gonna make so much money, but like really, with this patch, with this brooch, with these blueprints, it's gonna be pretty crazy. I'll be doing a lot of testing. You can watch my previous videos to see, like, you know, the other stuff, and it's gonna make the league a lot more fun. You're gonna be dropping so much stuff. I hope you guys try it out. And that's the video. If you guys have any questions, you guys can ask me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/QTalk_. Okay, that's it. So yeah, patch is coming. Okay, thank you for watching my video. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.